Go ahead.
With that, folks,
hit us with the.
do you want me to get to the last one?
Yeah.
I got you. MAGA is pushing a pardon for George Floyd's murderer, Derek Chauvin. Conservative media figures are pushing Donald Trump to pardon Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer who was convicted of murder in 2020 killing of George Floyd that sparked widespread Black Lives Matter protests. It seems the White House has taken notice. Beginning this week, high-profile commentator Ben Shapiro will begin airing a dossier called "The Case of Derek Chauvin," part of a pardon push that begins earlier this month and now has racked up 50,000 signatures on the petition. A reprieve would be a watershed moment in the aftermath of Floyd's death, in which officers, including Chavez, knelt on the man's back and neck for minutes as he screamed he couldn't breathe, and he also screamed for his mama. Some of the largest protests in U.S. history took place. Chauvin was later convicted of second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. A pardon would only apply to Chauvin's 21-year federal sentence, leaving his 22-and-a-half-year state sentence from 2021 intact. You know what? Go ahead and let him out and see what happens. See what happens to you. See what's gonna happen in this country. The thing you don't understand is, and I tell Black people this all the time. I was like, your ancestors built this country. I don't understand why you're so scared to burn it down and build it again. You let this man out of jail after what we watched George Floyd die on TV. You can watch that video. There's no way you watch that video. If you watch George Floyd die on TV and you have anything else to say but he was murdered, you should be dead too. That's how I look at it. And we ain't scared of nobody. You saw what happened in Montgomery. You saw what happened in Ohio. That's when we just stopped attacking each other and we saw y'all coming to mess with us and we jumped on it. You can't take the loss like we've been doing. I see Black people die every day on TV from the news.
It's like, man, this right here, it's pretty much icing on the cake. I've watched Stephen A. Smith speak about this because, this whole thing first started with Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is a Jewish right-wing, he has his own news station. Candace Owens actually once worked for him on his news station. She was fired because she spoke out about a rabbi.
About a rabbi.
And
she was going too hard in the paint on him. The whole thing, but Candace Owens was allowed to sit there and derogatory make claims about Black folks. Just like Stephen A. Smith, I don't mess with him either. He had more smoke for Kyrie trying to talk about where he came from, a Semitic land in Africa, than he did for the owner of UFC on camera slapping his wife. And so, I understand that too. And so Stephen A. Smith basically said, he was like, because right after Ben Shapiro posted this on Twitter, I believe, Elon Musk retweeted it and was like, or on X, he retweeted it and saying that, this may be a good idea. And so they said they brought it up to that people, actual newscasters brought it up to, journalists brought it up to Trump. He was like, I haven't heard about it, and he was kind of just played it off that way. But Stephen A. Smith basically said, if they do this, never vote for them again. But I'm already of the party of, I know who you are. I knew who you were when you said poison in the blood of America. I knew who you were then. I knew who you were when you said rapists and murderers. I knew who you were when you said he can't judge me because he's Mexican. I knew who you were a very, very, very long time ago. There's not one Black person in your cabinet besides the HUD secretary, which was the same thing you gave Ben Carson last time. You don't want Black people around you. You barely want any other color around you, but you know that there's money when you're dealing with certain Asian groups. They put Kash Patel in charge of the FBI because what they're about to do to people, they need a colored person to blame for.
I mean, you got to remember too, at the same time, is like I said, Asian people. You have to look at certain things like that. They understand certain groups here are going to be running. You understand that India is going to be very powerful going forward. China is going to be very powerful going forward. There's certain groups that you're going to mess with, but you understand who you don't have to. That's why you just did the whole segregation thing you did before. That's why this is even an issue being brought up. To why release a person a white police officer who murdered a Black man on television, on camera. Everyone saw it. That's why you talk about letting yourself bring in white farmers from South Africa, because they're being persecuted by the Black people. There's racism, but in this country you don't want to talk about racism. I thought this was all like things you wanted to get rid of. You didn't want to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. You didn't want to talk about any of that stuff. So, but it's okay for you to speak about it about white people over in South Africa.
And to note to date, they did ask Donald Trump about this, and he said, "No, I'm not going to do it." At the last time, that's when they said to him, when they asked him about it, he said, "No, I'm not going to do that."
We'll see.
We shall see. We shall. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's Uncommon Courtesy. We'll see you next time.